kind of help the workers to produce more of these molecules to fight against oxidatory stress. So that's a little bit of what's the pathway from the molecule to what we expect it to do. So it acts on this factor, which in turn acts to glutathione and other antioxidants to kind of enhance the production of them. And then that's expected to reduce the oxidative stress that is seen in FA. And that is expected to lead to less cell death. So hopefully, after going through a little bit of these cartoons, when you read this sentence again, it actually makes more sense, I hope. And now I just want to briefly talk about how the clinical trial is set up. So the molecule is actually owned by these Friedreich Pharmaceuticals, which is based in Texas, so it's a US based company. And the target of this company is to target difficult to treat diseases, and FA is one of those. And again, this is from the same website I was talking about before, and that's a little bit of how the clinical trial is set up. It's a bit tricky because it's not tricky. It's a bit tricky to explain because they have different doses, and the same patient might go through different stages with that. But basically, there is a treatment group and then a placebo group which receives a placebo pill. It is a double-blind clinical trial, which means that the doctor doesn't know if he or she is giving to the patients the placebo or the drug, and of course, on the other side, the patient wants to know if they are receiving the placebo or the actual drug. This is a clinical trial in phase 2. Phase 2 is actually testing the effectiveness of a drug. So it is a very important step in clinical trials, and unfortunately is also one of the steps, the main steps, where a lot of clinical trials fail, because a lot of molecules might be well tolerated by human body and might have no major side effect, but they might also not have the effect that we expect them to have. So this is the stage where we want to test if the effect of the drug is actually there and if the drug is doing something. So how do they want to test that? They have two outcomes, a primary and a secondary outcome. The time frame for the treatment and the outcome is 12 weeks. So the primary outcome basically measures the change of peak in workload during exercise testing, which I represented here with this little picture. The secondary outcome measure if there is any change in the Friedreich Ataxia rating scale. So this is not, the changing in FARS is not the main target they're looking at. They're actually looking at this exercise testing after 12 weeks. And these are all the doses that I was talking about before. Any clinical trial that goes through all the phases, but especially phase 2, because phase 2 is the phase where we want to know if there is effectiveness of the drug. The selection criteria for the people who can get on the trial are quite strict, and that happens in the case of this trial as well. So I just quickly go with you through the criteria. To be able to get enrolled in this clinical trial, people need to have genetically confirmed Friedreich Ataxia. They have to have a FARS that is more than 10 but less than 80. Be male or female over 16 years of age, but also less than 40 years of age. Have no change to exercise regimen within the 30 days prior to the study, because of course the study is going to test, one of the tests for the study is to do exercise, as we were saying before. Have the ability to complete maximal exercise testing for the same reason, and be able to swallow capsule And the exclusion criteria are basically related to this inclusion one. So the inclusion criteria are quite strict, but this is just one of the phases of a clinical trial. If the drug passes this phase, then a lot more people can be included later on. But for this particular stage, these are the people that they want to look at. And I just want to conclude with this slide where we all have fingers crossed, hoping that this molecule will actually have the effect that we expect. And that's it. Thank you.